The man filming the video is the owner of a takeaway shop in Shanghai. According to him, the takeaway business in Shanghai is bleak. By 9 p.m., he had only received 7 orders from the LME platform, totaling 110 yuan, approximately 15 US dollars, and 12 orders on the Meituan platform, totaling 150 yuan, around 21 US dollars. The combined daily turnover from both platforms is only 260 yuan, about $36. After deducting costs such as rent, utilities, and ingredient expenses, the business is essentially operating at a loss.
Such a large Pinghu, South China city, yet I can't even see 2 people in such a large fabric market. What's really happening in Shenzhen? Look at how business is doing right now. So many storefronts on this street have become vacant. They've all closed down. I guess there's no need to boast anymore, saying that business would pick up during the holiday season. But now the holiday's over. The lies have been exposed, haven't they? Look at this large shopping mall in Hudman, Guangdong. It seems like it's on the verge of closing down. When there are no people, there are no people. The elevators are still running, but there are just no people. Do you see any people? It seems like there's no hope in Guangdong now. Has it reached a state of equilibrium development now? Actually, our hometown is doing better than here now, and there are more people.
Earning money this year seems to be a challenge. A few startling data points indicate this. Ride-hailing app Didi's user base plummeted from 45 million to 10 million, a decline of 3/4. The online travel platform Ctrip saw its user count drop from 26 million to 6 million, a similar decline of 3/4. And Starbucks' user base was halved from 4 million to 2 million. Last year, 460,000 companies went out of business. However, 2 figures have risen. The active monthly user base of the online recruitment platform, boss Zhipin, broke through 100 million, nearly doubling, and the number of ride-hailing drivers increased by 1.14 million. These statistics suggest a comprehensive decline in consumer spending, and as people hold tighter to their wallets, the number of job seekers has surged. The latest data released by China's National Bureau of Statistics corroborates the nationwide consumption slump. The data shows that the Consumer Price Index, CPI, in September remained stagnant year-on-year, which is lower than the Reuters survey projection of 0.2% growth. This suggests that China's economy continues to face deflationary pressures. The data further reveals that the core inflation rate, excluding food and fuel prices, remains unchanged at 0.8% from August. Moreover, the Producer Price Index, PPI, saw a year-on-year decline of 2.5%, marking the 12th consecutive month of negative growth. However, this drop is slightly less than August's 3% decline. Zhiwei Wang, chief economist at Pinpoint Asset Management, commented, "The zero growth in CPI suggests that deflation remains the real risk faced by the Chinese economy. Without significant fiscal stimuli, domestic demand recovery remains weak. The slowdown in the real estate sector continues to erode consumer confidence, impacting household demand," Zhang added. Meanwhile, food prices decreased by 3.2% year-on-year, a 1.5 percentage point increase from August, dragging down the CPI. Pork prices dropped by 22%, a steeper decline than August's 18%. This grim scene precedes the Mid-Autumn Festival, with barely a soul in sight. The Mid-Autumn Festival is traditionally a time for Chinese families to reunite, with relatives and friends gathering to dine together. Sales of foods like pork should naturally be higher. This year, being the first Mid-Autumn Festival since China lifted its pandemic measures, the atmosphere feels different from previous years. In the video, a pork vendor shared that business leading up to the Mid-Autumn Festival has been very sluggish, with hardly any customers at the market. Mooncakes, an essential delicacy for China's traditional festival, have suddenly fallen out of favor. A mooncake wholesaler told mainland China, "This Mid-Autumn Festival has been the bleakest. We simply can't sell the mooncakes. In previous years, from a stock of 500,000 yuan, around 68,000 US dollars, we would only have a few thousand yuan's worth by the end of the festival. This year, out of the initial 500,000 yuan, we still have 300,000 yuan, roughly 41,000 US dollars worth. In the past, stock would deplete quickly with the post-holiday sales. This year, hardly anyone showed up to buy the discounted mooncakes the day after the festival." He added, "Moreover, many stallholders began offloading stock the day before the festival." It's been the worst year I've seen. The leftovers are either consumed by us or sold to feed mills for pig feed, he lamented. A food wholesaler commented, "Not only was the festival day silent, in fact, many merchants began to discount their goods in advance of the Mid-Autumn Festival. Some restaurants were selling 5 mooncakes for just 10 yuan, about $1.40. Establishments like Daoxiangchun were selling 10 pieces for 7 yuan, barely breaking even. Some mooncakes were priced as low as 5 yuan per pound, approximately 70 cents, and mini mooncakes for one around 10 cents. They were operating at a loss." This wholesaler added, "We were hoping to make a profit during the mid-autumn season. However, everyone I know in the mooncake business is operating at a loss, and they're desperately selling off their stock in thousands." According to sales data from the JD.com e-commerce platform, by mid-August, the platform sold about 91,000 boxes of mooncakes for this year's Mid-Autumn Festival, a 43% decrease from last year's 160,000 boxes. The total sales volume plummeted by 55%. A general food wholesaler stated, "September to October might be the toughest months this year." He continued, "Alongside mooncakes, sales of liquor, fruits, and even crab have declined this year. Seasonal product sales have declined by about a third overall. Even though we had the pandemic in the previous years, business was still manageable. Now, even without the pandemic, business is tough. People are reluctant to spend or give gifts." As for the drastic decline in consumption, he believes that although the special period of the past 3 years has passed, its effects linger. Many entrepreneurs face financial strains, and many workers are out of jobs, leading to diminished consumer power. Especially after school reopened in September, not only did student consumption decline, but parents also had to tighten their belts due to expenses like tuition and living costs. Some netizens theorized that mooncake sales have become an economic barometer for China. Affected by economic downturns, many companies have gone bankrupt or downsized, and the incomes of ordinary people have diminished. The public is cutting back on expenses, resulting in the drastic dip in mooncake sales this year. Many families are now struggling financially to the point where they can't even afford basic expenses. Some might find it hard to believe that in today's society there are individuals who can't even muster up 5,000 or 6,000 yuan. Such an incredulous reality actually occurred with my younger brother, as shared in a video by a concerned woman. The woman in the video recounts a personal experience involving a family member. "A couple of days ago, my brother called me, desperately asking for a loan of 6,000 yuan, approximately $820. I asked him, 'Don't you earn over 15,000 yuan a month, around $2,050? He replied that those days are gone, and now he's lucky to earn 10,000 yuan, roughly $1,367, with monthly loan repayments for his home and car exceeding 6,000 yuan, and his wife staying at their hometown to care for their child. Money is tight. Furthermore, their child's preschool tuition costs over 5,000 yuan, about $683. This month, they're struggling financially. Previously, they relied on their credit card to make ends meet. Now they can't even afford the minimum repayment and risk defaulting. Hence, he's reaching out for help." The lady continued, "It's not just my brother. Many people are experiencing the same plight." Another friend of hers shared a similar tale of a relative who hasn't found a suitable job this year and has been living off his parents. Having borrowed most of the money for his wedding last year, and now with a baby on the way, they even struggle to afford hospital checkup fees, relying heavily on borrowed funds. The current employment environment in China is tense. Not only is youth unemployment consistently high, but middle-aged individuals also face challenges securing jobs. A 33-year-old programmer posted on a social media platform that he had been laid off for a month and suffers from insomnia. Every morning, his first task is to apply for jobs on various platforms. However, 99% of his applications are left unread, and the remaining 1% are rejected due to his age or educational background. Recruitment agencies informed him that hundreds of candidates vie for a single position. Programmers like him, who lack advanced degrees and are considered older, are often filtered out in the first round, leaving them with scant opportunities for interviews. He concluded by asking, "Is the only remaining job option for programmers in their 30s to become drivers for ride-sharing apps, deliver takeout, work as couriers, or set up street stalls?"
A programmer born in 1982 shared his experience. "I'm a 41-year-old C-language programmer. Ever since I lost my job last year, I've been essentially idling away at home. I've felt disheartened, without any enthusiasm or direction in life. Honestly, I wonder if I might be experiencing anxiety or depression.
This programmer disclosed that he's been actively sending out resumes online recently, having dispatched nearly 400 to 500 of them, only for most to go unanswered. The few responses he does get tend to be dismissive due to his age, leaving him without even a single interview opportunity.
It's so tough to find a job. Every time I think about it, I'm overwhelmed with tears. Why is it so hard to find a job nowadays?
The programmer lamented, his voice choked with emotion. I've been in this industry for nearly 20 years, and it's disheartening to feel obsolete. I have another 20 years until retirement. How will I survive without any income? He candidly expressed that the overall environment in China is tough, especially in the software industry where many are facing layoffs. According to Voice of America, Wang Zhe, a senior economist at Caixin think tank, stated, "The foundation for economic recovery remains unstable. Domestic demand is still insufficient, external uncertainties persist, and the employment market continues to experience significant pressure." A survey by Caixin and S&P Global indicates that manufacturers' confidence in the coming year has dropped to its lowest in 12 months. Producers of consumer goods, capital goods, and intermediate goods have all implemented layoffs. On the other hand, the World Bank has revised downward its economic growth forecast for China for the next year. The bank's report mentions that China, the largest economy in Asia, is grappling with an emerging real estate market crisis. Given the potential risk this crisis poses to China's economic prospects, in April the World Bank adjusted China's 2024 GDP growth rate from the previously projected 4.8% to 4.4%. The World Bank attributes the revision of China's GDP growth rate primarily to long-term structural factors, including the rise in debt levels of the world's second-largest economy and a sluggish real estate sector. The World Bank notes, while domestic factors might primarily impact China's economic growth, external elements are likely to have a more significant influence on the economic growth of most other regions in the area. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has also revised down its economic growth predictions for China, both for this year and the next, citing China's real estate crisis and weakening external demand.